next topic of discussion is edema and effusion. Edema can be defined as the abnormal and excessive accumulation of free fluid in the interstitial tissue spaces. The accumulation of fluid in the serous cavities is called effusion. Examples are ascites, which is fluid in the peritoneal cavity, hydrothorax, fluid in the pleural cavity, hydropericardium, fluid in the pericardial cavity. Depending on the distribution, edema is classified into two: localized edema and generalized edema. Localized edema is limited to an organ or part of the body. It may be caused due to lymphatic or venous obstruction, as seen in filariasis, inflammation, which is the most common cause, and immune reactions. Generalized edema, it is systemic in distribution and affects visceral organs and subcutaneous tissue. It is caused due to disorders in fluid and electrolyte metabolism, such as liver cirrhosis, nephrotic syndrome, etc. Depending on the composition, edema fluid can be categorized into two: transudate and exudate. Transudate is found in cases where there is no change in permeability of blood vessels. So the fluid is basically a filtrative blood plasma with low protein and same glucose content of plasma with a few mesothelial cells. Example is the edema in congestive cardiac failure. Then as exudate, it is associated with increased vascular permeability of inflamed tissue. So fluid characteristic is high protein and low glucose content compared to that of plasma, and it also has a lot of inflammatory cells. Example is purulent exudate such as pus. For detailed differences between transudate and exudate, you can refer to table 2.3 in Ramdas, and there is also a table in Hashmohan, but I couldn't find one in Robbins though. Moving on, pathogenesis of edema. So like we saw in homeostasis, vascular hydrostatic pressure drives fluid into the interstitium, and plasma colloid oncotic pressure drives fluid into circulation. So any mechanism which interferes with normal fluid balance can produce edema. So there are three causes of edema. One is increased hydrostatic pressure, second is decreased oncotic pressure, and third is the movement of fluid into tissues. When it exceeds lymphatic drainage, it causes edema. So the first cause is increased hydrostatic pressure. So the conditions that increase hydrostatic pressure can drive fluid from the capillary end into the interstitial fluid space and cause edema. So edema due to increased hydrostatic pressure can be categorized into two: localized and generalized. The localized increase in hydrostatic pressure is due to local impairment in venous return. There are two examples: deep venous thrombosis and postural edema. So deep venous thrombosis causes edema of the lower extremities. Postural edema can be seen when a person stands for long durations, and it can be seen as edema in the legs and ankles. Generalized edema is mainly due to congestive heart failure, which may involve the right ventricle or left ventricle or both. Right congestive heart failure is indicative, causes peripheral pitting edema due to increased hydrostatic pressure in the venous circulation. Whereas in left congestive heart failure, we can see pulmonary edema because of increased hydrostatic pressure in the pulmonary circulation. The second cause for edema is decreased oncotic pressure. So it is associated with renal edema, cardiac edema, and cerebral edema mainly. In renal edema, the plasma osmotic pressure is dependent on plasma proteins, mainly albumin. So decreased plasma osmotic pressure may be due to reduced albumin synthesis or loss of albumin. Reduced albumin synthesis may be due to liver cirrhosis or protein malnutrition. Loss of albumin may be due to diseases such as nephrotic syndrome and malabsorption and protein losing enteropathy. So what are the consequences of decreased plasma osmotic pressure? So decreased plasma osmotic pressure leads to an increase in the movement of fluid from circulation into interstitial tissue spaces, which causes reduced intravascular volume. This leads to renal perforation, again leading to the production of renin, angiotensin, and aldosterone in the body. This results in salt and water retention, but the primary defect still persists. So this does not alleviate the problem. The second association with decreased oncotic pressure is cardiac edema. Mechanism of edema in congestive heart failure. So, when there is decreased cardiac output, this leads to decreased flow of blood into kidney, which activates the renin-angiotensin system, which leads to retention of sodium and water. In cerebral edema, which is seen in, it can be seen in pituitary disorders and lung cancer. So here there is an increased production of ADH, which leads to hyponatremia and cerebral edema. We all know ADH causes retention of water. The third cause of edema is lymphatic obstruction. Lymphatic obstruction causes impaired drainage of lymph and produces localized edema called as lymphedema. So what are the causes of lymphatic obstruction? It can be chronic inflammation of lymphatics associated with fibrosis. Lymphogranuloma venereum causes lymphedema at the scrotal and vulva region. Invasive malignant tumors such as malignancy in the breast causes blockage of subcutaneous lymphatics, which leads to lymphedema of breast. A very characteristic appearance is the pudgy orange appearance of the breast. Next is pressure over lymphatic drainage from outside. So tumors obstructing thoracic ducts are an example. There is also damage by surgery or radiation. Patients with breast cancer may develop severe edema due to the removal of breasts or axillary lymph nodes. Then there are parasitic infestations such as in filariasis, where there's a obstruction of lymphatics and lymph nodes. And also hereditary disorders where Milroy's disease is characteristic of it is the abnormal development of lymphatics. So what are the clinical causes of edema? They range from minimal effects to rapidly fatal effects. When generalized subcutaneous tissue edema indicates cardiac or renal disease. Pulmonary edema is indicative of left ventricular failure, and other reasons are renal failure, acute respiratory distress syndrome, and pulmonary inflammation or infection. Cerebral or brain parenchymal edema, it is life-threatening and can lead to death. Mixed edema is a non-pitting type of edema which involves the face and visceral organs observed due to hypothyroidism. Then the last is papilledema, which is swelling of the optic nerve head due to the increase in pressure around the optic nerve. This is due to blocking of the venous outflow near the optic nerve head. So that's it with edema. Thank you.